Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Gremlin. How you doing? What? What's going on there? What am I clicking on? Weird. I don't know what I'm clicking on. It's opening up all sorts of things. But hello, how are you? I am in the middle of cleaning a container to actually pour resin because all of my mixing cups are dirty because I never actually clean them like I should. Hi, Jen. And then I'm actually speak of the devil. I'm trying to figure out for the tower part, the plasma ball, what color I want it to glow. Because I do have a couple of the little spheres for it already made, but they don't actually glow. So I was just going to make a few more while I make, you know, the new crystals. So I was trying to figure that out. I have some options. And I was thinking it might be fun to do it a different color from the lightning a little bit, because the lightning's going to be like a really light blue color. Let me show you. Let me show you the options here. So the lightning is this light blue color. That was my plan anyway. I thought it fit the best. And then I was trying to decide on the die's gonna have like a lightning in it, and then it has like a, oh, I look so creepy. Ooh. And then it has like a tower in the middle that has a bit that I want to glow. I was thinking almost maybe like the pink. Just do something like super contrasting. Or I could go for like, I don't know, a different blue. I don't know. I would love to hear your opinion. But let me turn the light back on. Different blue or red. Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe one of those. Maybe the magenta. Haven't looked into glowing stuff yet. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm actually going to be remaking a different set with some glow-in-the-dark stuff today too. Let me go through the plan for tonight. So, this is just for a little sphere for a project that I'm kind of in the middle of working on. So we're gonna be making some more little crystals and stuff for that. I went and poured a jumbo D20 the other day, and it turned out like almost perfect, but then there's a few things. It's just like, I need to change this. So I'm gonna re-pour it. So I'm gonna do the first part of that tonight, and that's what the crystals and the glowing sphere is gonna be for. And so I've got some little tiny skulls, some little tiny rocks. They're very, very small. And we're gonna be putting those into here and then kind of covering them up with dirt. That was hard to say for some reason. Covering them up. Baby skulls. I don't know how I feel about them being baby skulls, Jen. So we've got that going on. And then I have a different commission I'm working on. I went and poured these the other day, and I like them for the most part. They have kind of like a purple and like a red. It looks almost more blue on screen, but it's kind of like a bluish purple. The problem is that the glow-in-the-dark in these all sank. It all sank to one side. So I'm going to try remaking these, and I'm going to try doing the glow-in-the-dark part a little differently. I think when I did these before, I might have put the resin with the glow-in-the-dark in first, hoping that it would kind of disperse, but it just kind of all stayed at the bottom. So this time I'm going to do the purple and the red and then put the glow-in-the-dark on top, kind of, so that it can kind of swirl in. Actually, I think my order of operations is going to be the purple. We're going to swirl the purple in there. We're going to swirl a little bit of the glow-in-the-dark in there so it's kind of swirled up. And then we're going to do the red peachy over the top of that. So otherwise I feel like these turned out nice. But yeah, it all ended up on one side. So we're gonna redo those. I'm debating. So this is a commission set. So for commission sets, I do an extra crystal shaped D4 and an extra and a keychain. I'm debating whether I should just use the D4 and the keychain from this, or whether I should remake them so that they match. Because usually I use those as kind of like dump molds, so they don't always match. I actually end up matching the full set. But I don't know if I want... I might keep the keychain as it is, and I think I might remake the crystal D4. I think that's my plan. Although then this set's going to end up with 2 D4s, which I guess isn't a bad thing if I end up, you know, polishing these up and selling them. Yeah, that was my plan. Yeah, that was kind of my plan this time. I was debating either doing that or kind of swirling it in on the top before I did the Petrie. Because I'm not sure if it actually sank in here, or if, I'm thinking back, I might have put the resin with the glow-in-the-dark into the mold first and then tried to pour the other resin on top of it in the hopes that it would swirl. But since it was just a little bit heavier, I think maybe it didn't. Because some of it actually did kind of work its way up on the sides. Might be hard to see. Anyways, you see there's kind of that cloudy bit there. So I think part of it was just because I put it in first. So my worry is that if I just put it on top of the Petrie, it might not show up because it won't sink as much. So I was debating that, but I don't know if it'll actually sink that much. So I'm thinking I'm going to do purple and then put that on top and then do the Petrie kind of on top of that. Because then it has room to sink, but then also if it doesn't completely sink, it has the Petrie to kind of pull it down a little bit. I don't know. I'm just thinking on it. If I need to redo them again, that's fine. But so yeah, I think I'll redo the D4 on that, but we'll just keep the same keychain. Maybe. I might redo the keychain. It looks like the red didn't sink very well. Yeah, I think it just said a little bit. So, let me look at these in the dark one more time so we can figure out which one we want. But let's see, the other plans for today. I have a D10, a jumbo D10. We're going to do kind of in this blue-green color with some moss in it to kind of look like not palm fronds, like seagrass or like river grasses type thing. Most of the way to the top, not all the way to the top, because I'm going to add something kind of on the top because we want it to be kind of pond-like. And then the last commission piece that I've planned, I have another tray to do. I've just lost the order that these were in. Okay. So this tray is going to be pond-like. Yeah, so this tray is going to be ocean themed. I just said ocean, really weird. I don't know why. It sounded really weird to me. But the way I'm going to do it, I think is going to end up doing it in kind of 4 layers. I went and kind of plotted out my plan. So I think it's going to take me 4 layers to get this poured. Because here's my plan for this. I went and actually like drew this out last night because I was just like, there was just too many steps going on in my head. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of part of just the lip. So just this part. And I'm going to fill it part of the way with kind of an ombre from like clear to dark blue. And that's going to be what we do today. It's just part of that with an ombre from clear to dark blue. And the reason for that is that I want to add seashells, but I don't want them to be all the way... Actually, wait. Let me check something. This will affect things. Let me pull out my seashells. So I've got little tiny seashells. Oh, this tray mold I just bought. I think I got it on like Amazon. Something. I didn't actually make this mold myself. And I just have the one mold. So I've got little tiny shells. And so what I was thinking yeah, okay, so here's kind of what I was thinking. That I worry that if I just put them into the side by themselves, I worry that they will, and then I try to, So what I want to do eventually is I want to have kind of dark blue over here. The shells, that's not actually my concern here. My concern here is that they will get kind of buried, because what I want to do is I want to go from dark blue to sand over here. So I don't want to add the sand right now, because obviously it would all end up on the bottom. And so if I put any shells in here, you wouldn't be able to see them. So my thought was to do a little tiny layer of resin so that these would stick up a little bit, and then do another layer of resin where this is at an angle so that there'd be more towards the dark blue side, and then when I go flat again I could have the sand and it would be kind of flat, and then when you actually flip it over it would look like the sand was kind of angling down into the water. What I'm debating now is whether I need to do that initial layer or not for the shells, because they might stick down far enough, because I don't want them to look like they're floating above the sand. I want them to look like they're resting kind of in or on the sand. And I'm just thinking about this. It doesn't matter. I don't need to do that initial layer. Okay. Okay, I think I've got it figured out. So we're gonna actually place the shells in here today, and we're going to cast this at a little bit of an angle. I need to figure out something flat that I can set this on, honestly. Okay, I think I have a plan. So, yes, so I'm gonna put the shells in here today. We're gonna cast it at just a little tiny bit of an angle so that the side with the shells is just a little bit higher, so that there's more of the dark blue. We still want the shells to be kind of, you know, partially covered in resin. Yeah, this will work fine. Yeah. Let me grab all of our shells and we can get those figured out. Okay. I've got it worked out in my brain now. So I went and ordered some fun little shells. I went and ordered some little tiny sand dollars and some little tiny starfish, because I thought those would be really, really cute for this. I know they're so small. The sand dollars are so small. I didn't think I was gonna use these today, so. Oh, I still have all my glow-in-the-dark stuff. Just a second. Let's figure out the glow-in-the-dark stuff, and I'll get that out of the way, and then we can do all of our seashells. So let me turn off the light just a second, so we can figure out what glow-in-the-dark we want for that other thing. So do you want to do like red? This one's very red, which might be kind of cool. So it would like look blue, and then it would glow red. That might be cool. Let's do red. Cool. Got that figured out. Let me get these away. All right. Out of the way. There we go. All right. Why is there hair in there? Get out of there. I will actually need my UV light again, so we won't put that away completely. All right. Cool. Cool. We've got a plan. I've got a plan. So I'm going to put seashells kind of mostly on one side, kind of fading towards that direction, because the plan is to kind of make it look like it's a beach, that then fades into like a deep ocean. So let's figure out what we're working with here. Let's find some shells of various shapes and sizes. I want things that, you know, I want a little bit of variation because I feel like it's just more interesting that way. But I also need things that are going to fit well. So these ones, the sand dollars, they're going to kind of go, you know, kind of like here, because they're flat enough that they'll work well there. And it's going to be kind of the same with this starfish. I'm going to put one maybe like over here. And then I'm going to put some of the taller shells like inside on the edge. We could maybe put one of these like smaller ones. Yeah, we could put one of these smaller ones here. Okay. Do I have any flat ones? That's the real question here. These are all kind of the curly Q ones. So I wonder if I have any of the like this one. There we go. Do I have any smaller ones of those though? I guess it doesn't really matter too much here. Yeah, okay. So let's put a bunch of these inside of the side here. And I don't want to like force them in or anything, because I don't want them to push against the sides too much and like press against the sides, and then because then they'll be all weird and bumpy and stuff. So if they're just kind of resting there, that's fine. Let's see what all we've got. I do want them to be, you know, flat enough that they'll actually be in the tray. I like this one. I wonder if I have any smaller ones though. I think I have another bag of shells. Let me pull that out. Let me see what I've got here. This looks maybe more like, it's more like river ones. Maybe not. Yeah. These look almost more like ones that maybe I collected at some point. I'm seeing some shells, but not really those flat ones like I was hoping for. I wonder, would this fit? I think this would fit in. I just need to make sure that I do get it there in such a way that you can see it. That was just a little bit big though. Let's see what else we've got in here. There is some like, these are pretty fun. Like there's some different, you know, colors and stuff in here. There's actually some different shapes too. They're mostly all that. There's some that are, you know, more like snail shell-ish almost. There's some that are longer. But mostly, you know, pretty much the same shape and stuff. But let's see here. And I'm gonna kind of try to get a bunch of these along this edge. But I want them to kind of spread out a little bit, just so that it doesn't look too even. Because I feel like that's how you make things. Ooh, this one's cool. This one's kind of eaten away a little bit. That's how you make things look more random. To make them uneven. Make them look more natural, I guess. Even if sometimes it takes more work to make things look more random. I feel like that's often the case. Ooh, this is kind of cool shell. Let's get a couple of things in here. And we need a couple starfish too. Haven't added any of those yet. Or at least one starfish. I don't know how many I'll add here, but at least one starfish. I'm trying to figure out how much, oh actually, you know, let's add one of these starfish on the side here. Yeah, and then we'll add one more, actually, we'll add one more. What was I gonna say? Oh, I'm trying to figure out how far out the sand is gonna end up going. Like, cause I want these to kind of be on the sand. I don't really want them to be out in the ocean as much, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to kind of keep them to maybe like a third. Because I think the sand might extend a little bit further, but that's fine. They're going to be kind of up on the shore a little bit more. So I'm going to try to keep it to I think maybe a third-ish. Yeah, we're going to keep it to about a third-ish. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I feel like that'll look the best with kind of your golden rule type thing, which is almost, you know, 1 to 2. Let me grab a glug of tea. Ah, I'd say I've been sitting here for a bit. This has cooled off quite a bit. That's the problem with tea, is that I have no good concept of time, and so my tea goes cold. Because I just haven't realized that it's been sitting there for an hour and a half. Not that that's been sitting there for an hour and a half. It hasn't. I know that it hasn't. Wait. Maybe it has been sitting there for an hour and a half. No, more like an hour. Okay. I think maybe that's good. I worry that if I do too many more, it's going to look kind of jam-packed. Liminal tea, yeah, basically. Yeah, I worry it'll look too jam-packed if I do too many more. Which is not like... The other third is going to be darker blue. So my plan is to do kind of an ombre. It's going to be clear, and then I'm going to go hopefully like darker and darker blue. That's the plan. And then, so this is going to be at a little bit of an angle where this is a little bit higher so that there will be more resin at this end. And then we'll add the sand on top. I need to figure out how I'm going to keep this, like, not flat, but rigid, because if I pick up this end, it bends a little bit, and I think I need something to put underneath it to help keep it sturdy. Oh, wait. I know what I can use. Look at this nifty little container that I just got. That is roughly the size of the tray and fairly flat. I wonder how that would work. Also doesn't want to, there we go. Aha! You're in and out. Like the burgers? So it's literally just going to be kind of up like that a little bit. Yeah. And we're going to do a little bit of dark blue at this end and then have the lighter color at this end. Might not even go up that much. We might go up by... burgers? Oh, you thought of the burgers too. Yeah, In-N-Out burgers. I don't want this to go very high. I need something, oh, here we go. Like just a little bit of an angle there, so that there's room for me to put down the sand, and the sand is going to be sloping a little bit. You're saying about how blue? Fair. Okay. I don't know, does that look, do you think that's enough? I think that's enough. I think I'm going to move this out a little bit so it doesn't look quite as lined up or whatever. I don't know, are those too close? But I think, whoops, is that enough, enough items on here? Oh, that's not the right one, this is the one that moved. Let me grab one more little tiny one. Put over here, maybe. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Your East Coast and have not had the joy of In-N-Out burgers. Have I had In-N-Out? I'm not sure I've had In-N-Out burgers. Now that I say it, I feel like I just have heard of them. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had In-N-Out. Alright, let's see here. Let me put these away, or at least out of the way. All of our shelves over here. Okay. So I've got that figured out. There is, however, cat hair right there. Just a second. Let me get the cat hair. We don't need that. It's not a lot of cat hair in the ocean, I don't think. Well, I mean, I guess there's probably some, but in the comparatively to the other things that are in the ocean, there's probably a minimal amount. Let's see. Okay. So this is the plan here. Cool. There's our plan there. Here's our blue colors. And I'll need to grab mixing cups for these, but we've got that figured out. Excellent. Let's see what else have we got. Okay, what other setup do we have? That's the real thing. So I've got my little skulls here that are going to go into this D20. And I want to coat them in just a little bit of UV resin. In-N-Out is super overrated. Fair. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been to one. Okay, let me grab. Alright. So I've got little tiny skulls. I still have these other skulls that I made that I need to put into dice or something at some point. But we're doing these first. Alright, so I've got, they're so small. It is so, it's a challenge working at this scale. It's a little overrated, but also it's a place that uses leaf lettuce, which your texture sensitive mouth enjoys. Okay. I don't think this will take very much. I just want to kind of coat them a little bit so that they're not like right up against the side of the mold, because that can make problems for polishing later on, I've found. It just makes it so that things don't polish quite right. We're also going to be dipping these into clear resin before putting them into the mold as well. And that's to try and give them a little bit of buffer from the dirt. So I made this die once already. And there was a few things that was just like, that could be better. And one of them was just that, like, the skulls in it got kind of lost a little bit in the kind of dirt around them. So we're gonna do this, and then we're also going to dip them in clear resin before putting them into the mold. And then we'll add the dirt on top of that, and that will kind of give them like a little bit of a barrier. So we're protecting them from two different things with the two different clear resins. All right. I might need a little tiny bit more resin. Yep, I need a little tiny bit more resin. So has anybody been up to any fun art projects lately? Art or craft? I've obviously been working on dice. Jen's been getting lots of update photos of a random piece of fan art that I've spent far too much time on. But it's been fun. I got a a drawing tablet not too long ago. I thought they were a lot more expensive than you can get them for. It's one of those things where, like, for a few years I've been like, man, it'd be really cool to try and do digital art. But it's going to be so expendy. And then I found out you can get a drawing tablet for like 30 bucks. And so I haven't used it a ton, but it's been kind of fun to work on one big project just to kind of get better at it. I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable. You're redoing the gasket to your pressure pot again. Again? As good as it was working, use an unfortunate color, you could not get over it. So you made sure to get... Valid. Can't argue there. To be fair, it did, like... I don't know, it reminded me of something, but it wasn't as bad as, like, what you all were saying. I can't remember what it is. It's just, like, tar or something. It reminded me of something. But, valid. Totally understandable. It's nice that it works, though, so I feel like that's a good indicator that, you know, redoing it will make it so it works, too. So that's kind of exciting. You'll have it so it works well and also looks good. A coworker of yours had a daughter, has a daughter having a baby, so pretty sure you'll be making a baby quilt. Oh, that's fun. My mom was, she didn't do quilts, but she did blankets. My mom did. So she was always the one that made all of the blankets for new babies of friends and family. She'd do like not tie blankets, but I guess maybe basically like you take one piece of fabric, you put batting, you take another piece of fabric, and then you take yarn and you kind of sew through it and then tie those. I don't know what that's called. There's no quilting involved, though. I think that's all of the UV resin that I will need. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's everything I need there. So that's for that. Random UV resin. Let me double check here that I have everything. So let me set the UV resin up and away. If I don't drop it, come here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, your whole silicone issues, and making little ones gives you a chance to try new things out. A huge investment in time and materials. That's a good point. That is kind of convenient. Oh man, yeah, the photos of Ty's pressure pots. Apparently silicone, the like caulking silicone, comes in various colors, one of which is brown. Yay! I mean, I am amused at it getting called a chamber pot, though, because I feel like that is a fun play on words. And like I am, you know, whoever decided to call it that, you know, it's like, good job on you for coming up with a good pun. But okay, let's see here. So I think we've got everything pretty much laid out. Oh, last thing. Your roommate started calling it that. Oh man. All right, so for the pond, we're gonna add some of this moss in there. Not very much though, I don't think. I just want enough that it kind of gives the impression of like some sort of water grasses. And then I might actually need some more of that for some dirt. Okay, let's go through everything one by one and get all of our mixing cups and everything figured out. So for that Jumbo D20, we're just doing a little tiny layer. It's going to be dirt colored. We'll need a little bit of clear resin, but we'll just dip that into, our mixing cup and put that in. I also need a little bit of dirt colored resin for this sphere that I'm making. This is going to be for the other D10 to go with this set. This jumbo set is, all of the dice are different in it, so it's a lot of different things. But this one, I need a little tiny bit more on the top to finish off this sphere. So I'm going to use the kind of dirt colored resin for all of that. I don't think I have enough dirt in here. Sounds weird because this doesn't actually use any actual dirt. But we are going to use some coffee grounds. And some cumin. My brain was telling me turmeric for a second there, but I knew that was wrong. That does something completely different. This is cumin. And some cumin. And the brown is over here. And some cinnamon. I'm giving away all my trade secrets for how I make dirt. How I make dirt colored resin. I just mix a whole bunch of food and spices together apparently. And I don't think we're going to need very much. Let me think about this. So a Jumbo D20 takes 20 milliliters of resin-ish. So like a fourth of that would be 5 milliliters. So I don't think we're going to even need 5 milliliters. Maybe more like 4. Maybe 4 milliliters. I'm gonna add a little bit, tiny bit more cinnamon. It's just kind of, that one's just kind of a dark brown color. But I think that will be good. If we need to add more, we will. If we need to add more, we will. I set all of my dirt over there. Yeah. So what the plan here? The plan here is that we will dip the skulls in a little bit of clear resin, put them into the mold, put our little tiny rocks in, dump those in, and then we will take our brown resin and pour that on the top. That's our order of operations there. I tend to think of things in like, what order do I need to do these in? Because I can't just do it on the fly. What went wrong with the first attempt at the D20? To be fair, the first attempt at the D20 was fine. If you want to give me a second, I can go grab it. I left it upstairs. If Jen doesn't mind me showing it off, that is. I don't usually show off commissions too much until the person that has... Alright, I will be right back. I'm going to run up and grab it, and I will show you. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the first one didn't actually turn out. It turned out fine. There's just a few things that kind of wanted changed. So this one had skulls. Oh, this one had skulls in it as well, but they're kind of hard to see. They kind of blend in there. So that's one of the things that we're going to change. Is going to try and make the skulls a little bit more visible. The lightning in this, it got shifted around. So it all ended up on one side. Man, I just ran upstairs and back down. Why am I breathing heavy? No, so the lightning all ended up on one side. I had kind of attached it so that it was on either side, and then I think when I was stirring in the top, it got shifted. So it all ended up over here and kind of lopsided. So yeah, there's none over here. And then I feel like the kind of the biggest thing is that you can't really see the top of the tower. So there's a tower in there, and it's very hard to see. There's kind of like a sphere up there. It's hard to see just in most angles. It gets obscured. So we're gonna try to kind of fix those three things. But the first thing we're gonna do, because it's the first layer, is just the bottom with the skulls. And a couple things we're gonna do kind of different. There's the dipping the skulls in clear resin first, and then I might try and make the dirt, like this layer, just a little bit thinner. I might not as well, because I do want to have enough room to place things. I think I'm going to end up doing the layer about the same thickness. But I tried printing out the tower at 95% of the size of this one. Yeah, this is probably the most complex die that I've ever made. There's been a lot of pieces going on. And there's a few things. So yeah, I've printed out the tower pieces at 95% of the size, so it's just a little bit smaller. It looks pretty much the same, but it's just a little tiny bit smaller. So that hopefully it'll be a little bit below the kind of storm going on up here. You have ideas? Yeah, so there, yeah. We'll see if that helps. I need to remake a lot of the pieces in here. It should go quicker now that I actually know how to make all of the pieces. So we're gonna, these crystals in here, the red and the blue and the gray. Man, if it'll focus. Yeah, so the red and the blue and the gray crystals in there, we're gonna remake those today, as well as that sphere in there. We're gonna make one that glows in the dark. So that's the plan there. We're gonna do the first layer and then make the crystals and the sphere. Yes. Okay. Which, speaking of, let's get those figured out. So I've got my three colors, and then for the sphere, I think what I did is I used this color, and I used some iridescent flakes. And then I used, what color blue did I use? It's almost as complex as your lighthouse. Yeah, probably. What blue do we want to use? I'm thinking maybe this blue. So we'll do a drop of the blue in there. But, so we have those three and these. So we're going to add some of these little flakes to our little spheres here. That feels like a dig, though. That feels like a dig. Just like, you're almost to my level. Almost. Alright, so we're going to fill this with just a little bit of iridescent flakes. We can get that little bit of shimmer in there. We're trying to kind of emulate like a plasma ball. If you don't know what that is, it's just Googling it. I had one as a kid. They're very strange. You can do interesting things with a plasma ball and a fluorescent light tube as well. Just fun fact: if you ever have a plasma ball and a fluorescent light tube, if I remember correctly, you can hold on to the fluorescent light tube, and then you hold one end against the plasma ball and it will light up to where your hand is. Is that what it is? Or something like that. But there's weird things you can do. Weird things you can do. Well, let's see. Let me get some of these flakes in here. And I wanted to put quite a few because they'll get obscured a bit by the colored resin. Because we want the resin to be not opaque, but heavily pigmented. Because if things are too translucent, they just don't show up. I tried doing purple crystals at one point. I made some little tiny crystal molds and put them into translucent purple crystals. Tried to put them into dice and like you couldn't even really see them at all. Maybe it was because they're purple, I don't know, but they lost all definition. So I'm operating under the assumption that most of the translucent things will end up not losing a lot of definition if I try to put them in clear resin. Okay. Here's our iridescent flakes. Should be enough of that. And then let's get our mixing cups for these. There we go. Should only need 4. Yep, so that has purple in it. Let's not do that. There we go, that one has red. It should just take a little bit. It's not going to take a lot of resin to get these filled in, so just grab a little tiny bit. Just a little tiny bit. Yeah, that should be fine. I just need enough to fill up one of the little crystals here. But anyways, let's see. What was I talking about before? I was talking about how I've been trying out a drawing tablet. That's been fun. That's been fun. I feel like I'm not, I'm still, it's not a medium that I'm super used to, but I'm having fun with it. I have definitely found that, and this is the same with traditional media as well, I can't draw. I can paint. I can't draw. So, I've been using it for kind of like digital painting more than digital drawing. When it comes to line art, I'm just like, this looks whack. I don't know what's wrong with it. Part of it, I think, is that I'm not great at proportions. And I almost feel like I can get away with things being a little bit more fuzzy when it's painted as opposed to drawn. But, I don't know, maybe that's just me. I did find that, like, changing the brush matters, which I didn't realize how much that, like, affected things. Once I found a different, like, brush to draw with, I'm just like, oh, my lines aren't as bad now. I was trying to use, like, a super smooth one. Yeah, the brush flow and opacity all matters with digital art. Yeah. And I'll probably post the finished piece in the Discord once I'm done with it, but at the rate that I'm going, that'll be next year. As well as size of canvas, that's fair too. I don't know how big the canvas is supposed to be. I don't know what like a normal canvas size is. But no, just changing the brush that I was using from like a super smooth one to one that had like a little bit more texture. Suddenly I was just like, oh, okay, this is my lines aren't actually as bad as I thought they were. That is more than I need in there. I don't need that much. Come on, get out. I don't need this much. Come on. But it's fun. It's fun. Like I said, though, There's no set size, but you do all your art at a far larger scale rather than doing it at size. I don't know what you mean by that necessarily. You mean you do it at like a larger scale than what it actually is, or? Yeah, I guess I don't quite understand what that means. I'm wondering if this is going to stay dark red when it glows. Once I add like the blue, oh man, it smells so strongly of sulfur. Once I add the like blue pigment and stuff. We'll see. We'll see. All right, there's that. Okay, cool. So there's that. We're gonna, the bigger the better. I mean, that's fair. I just don't know what, like, I don't even know what a bigger size, like how many pixels wide is a larger canvas? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the standard is. So I wouldn't be able to tell you. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. But when I'm initially setting it up, it's like, I don't know how many pixels is a big canvas and how many pixels is a small canvas. It's just, it just has a number there, and the numbers are meaningless to me. Set this back over here. Let's see here. So we're gonna grab some of these. First, some blue. So my plan here, here's the real question. Should I put a little bit of shimmer into these? Actually, should I add a little bit of shimmer? I could always add shimmer with like the next layer too. Yes. To be fair, I was also thinking I might try and do some, so I like to do like dirty pours, which is where you put all of the colors into the same cup and then pour them with alcohol inks, and that tends to add kind of like striations, like little lines, and I was thinking of doing that with white so that we could pour it so that it kind of looks like sea foam. I was debating doing that. I do think a little bit of shimmer would look nice though. Let's add a little tiny bit of shimmer. We got a little tiny bit of shimmer. Where's that? That's over here. You're a pro blue and glitter. I should have known. Should have known. But it's normal to work scaled up and size it back down when finished. The size down also smooths and hides any wonk with lining. That makes sense. That makes sense. Alright, there we go. Just a little tiny bit of shimmer. I don't think I'm going to use shimmer for the clear. We're just going to use straight old clear because we're going to have sand there, hopefully. Put that over there. But there is our blue colors for the... I'm just making sure I have these in order. I guess once I start mixing them up, I'll be able to tell that they're in order. But I want to move my little paint chips here out of the way so I don't get them all sticky. Okay. So I've got that. Next up is our D10 here. So this is going to have some yellow. This one's going to have some teal. This is one of the new, I just got some new colors recently because I needed a red and I didn't have one, and I also wanted a brown and I didn't have one. So I got a set of random alcohol inks, and then they have some good colors. So we're going to use this teal because I think that'll be blue enough to look pond-like, and then also like it's kind of light enough to show the moss in it. Yeah. Okay. So I need to think about how I want this moss in here, because I want this to kind of look like pond grasses. And so I worry that if I just put this in, like if I just put this in like this, just all, like, is it gonna look weird? Do you usually do that on top of the other colors or underneath the other colors though? For the seafoam. But yeah, for the pond, do I want to, yeah, because this is going to be kind of on bottom, because I'm pouring this from the bottom. So that might work, or it might get all spread out. Like, that might work. I think I'll just try the, I'll try it my way. If it doesn't turn out, we'll try it your way. Whatever's on top of the other cast. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so that probably would work. I think I'm just gonna try it my way first, though. Might as well. If it doesn't turn out, that's fine. Let's see. Yeah, so pond grasses. Do I want to? I was thinking I might try and put the resin in and then add these so that they're kind of upright. I don't think they'll stay upright though, is the thing. And also I don't actually want these sticking out too much from the top, because I want to be able to put something on top. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, would it look not like pond grass if I just put this in like this? If I just put the whole thing in here, will it just look weird, or will it actually kind of look like grasses? I don't know. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. I think we'll just try it like this. We're just gonna try it like that. The thing is that we're also kind of doing this to try and match it to the other D10 a little bit, and it's gonna have kind of a similar look to it. So let's try it like this. It'll be a little experiment. And yeah, it might look weird. The bottom of what? It's the bottom of what, sand or dirt? This dye? This dye's not gonna have either. There shouldn't be sand or dirt in this dye. It's just gonna be blue. Just gonna be blue. That I'm just gonna, we're just gonna put it in there and hope for the best. Because quite honestly, I'm not quite sure how I would get it all to be parallel upwards. Okay. Last thing. So we've got our, okay. So this is going to be for our repour of these. This is our purple and our red. So we're just going to have some clear resin with a little bit of shimmer to it. I had a, let me think over here. Oh wait, I want this. We want clear resin with a little bit of shimmer to it. I'm putting it in this because I need the space for the resin. Okay. I'll take a little bit of this. More than that. I don't know where that even went. Because I want this to have a little bit of shimmer to it, but not so much that it like obscures everything. There we go. So that's going to have a little bit of shimmer. And we're going to be kind of swirling the purple in with just a, like a stir stick. And then we're going to drip this on top. So we don't need stuff for that. But for our white glow-in-the-dark powder, I think I'll mix that with a little tiny bit of resin. Where's the one that I just set down? There was a little, oh, here it is. We'll mix that with a little tiny bit of resin. so that it'll actually incorporate well. I don't think we'll need too much of this. We're going to kind of try swirling it in a little bit. We'll add a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, so that's going to be our clear, and that's going to be our glow in the dark. We've got these all figured out. Let me set these into a little cup so that I don't try to grab them. Sometimes I like putting things in just these little cups so that I can move them around once my hands are coated in resin. I can still have them out. So this way I'll be able to see them, but I can move them around without getting them all sticky. There's one more thing that I may or may not do, and that's if I have a little bit of leftover resin, and I don't know that I will. I have some blanks that I just want to make solid black to finish off a set. So I think that is everything, though. I'll put this up and away. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is everything. Which means we should be ready to pour some resin. Let me just make sure that this is cleaned out, I guess. This is my mixing cup. There's still a few little bits. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I just put more little flecks of resin in there, trying to get a piece out. So let's get that. Where's the end? Here's the end. That didn't work how I wanted it to. Okay. Oh, I feel tired today. I feel like I'm not as chatty as I usually am. I'm like actually pausing to take a breath now. That's not my normal streaming habits. What's going on? Alright. Let me get another chug of tea and then we will go ahead and pour our resin. Let's see if I can clear off my fingers as well. We've got little flecks of resin on them as well. Alrighty. Grab some tea. Alright, I think we are all ready to mix up our resin. So let me grab my safety equipment here. Namely, a respirator and gloves. That's one glove. Glove. Ah! Did I just add an extra? Oh, okay. I thought maybe I had 3 gloves over here for a second. I was just like, that's not gonna work out well. Okay. So let me get all suited up. I'm gonna be a little bit muffled for the rest of the stream. I'm gonna sound like this, just so y'all know. I'll try to talk as clearly as I can, but it's gonna be a little bit Darth Vader-y. And let's get our things going. Okay, cool. Let me grab my resin. Alright, so I'm going to be kind of quiet for a second here as I pour this in here because I cannot talk and measure at the same time. So feel free to chat amongst yourselves. I will be right back. After this, come by, she'll break. No, wait. I might need to open up my new container. We'll find out, I guess. I think I'm gonna need to I'm gonna pull out my new thing of resin, I think, just so this goes faster. I'll finish this one off, when I'm on my own. Oh, how helpful. Why did you do that? It's fine. That was my, usually like deciding it wanted to fall. Alright, let me pull out the new resin. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. Not again! I mean, you're not wrong, but not again. Alright, so I need the resin, because that's the hardener. I'm using Art and Glow resin. I feel like it's kind of a thicker one, but it's the one that I started out with, because I just decided to try it. And it's worked for me, so I haven't gotten anything different. I will give you guys a sneak peek. I did actually order a different kind of resin fairly recently that has some different, it's supposed to be for dice, but it has some different applications that I'm going to try some fun things with, hopefully. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to try making some things other than dice with the other resin that I just ordered. But this is Art and Glow, which is what I've used for the most part. I know some people like thinner resins, some people like thicker resins. I don't know. I feel like the thicker resin works out fine for me because I have the pressure pot, so I don't need to worry about bubbles too much. And it works well for a lot of the designs that I want to do. Not all of them, but for like dirty pours and stuff, it works out. Okay, let me finish pouring this and I'll be right back. All right. There's that. And then let us use our hardener. So, once again, you use a weird off-brand resin that pours a bit thin but is low odor and low fumes, and so far works well. It's cheaper than most you found on Amazon. Sweet! As long as it works, that's the important thing. Alright, so I'll be right back when we pour this part. things are trying to fall over there again. That's okay. I'll take a look. I'm probably going to stick with what I know, but let's go. I'll take a look at it one way or another. Alright. Let's mix this up. Yeah, I am always curious to see what other people are using. You know, just hear how it's working for them. So, if it's working out well, that's great. But I'm stuck in my ways. I'm stuck in my ways and will probably continue to use what I've been using just because if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of thing. But yeah, I am excited to try out this other resin that I ordered as well. We all get stuck in our ways, yeah, pretty much. It really is the if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of mentality. For me at least, where I'm like, this is working fine for me. I don't want to mess with it and, you know, have the chance that it's not going to work fine. The new resin that I ordered though, it's a 2-to-1 mixture, so we'll see if I mess that up at some point because I'm used to 1-to-1. I think I'll probably be fine, but yes, I have possible exciting secret projects in the works for that, so we'll see how that goes. It's got some properties that this resin does not, so I can make some different things, but it might be a while because shipping places is interesting at the moment. So that's one of my, oh man, I got a commission to go to Australia, and then it was like the next day that I saw the stuff saying that like USPS is not currently shipping to Australia from the US. I'm just like, oh man, I hope that has been resolved by the time I actually need to ship these, because that's going to be a pain if not. Yeah. This is going to take a minute. It always takes a minute to stir. I just want to make sure that I'm scraping the sides, scraping the bottom, getting all of part A or part B unstuck from all the little places here. But I can see that they're still not completely mixed. There's all sorts of like streaks of one where it's kind of like through the other but not mixed in completely. That's usually how I judge whether it's mixed completely or not. Let's see if I can show you. Might be hard to see on camera. Kind of hard to see on camera. It looks kind of cloudy there, I guess, but no, there's kind of like, it's kind of like the light isn't refracting evenly through both parts. So like the light bounces differently off of part A as it does of part B. So you kind of have like clear areas, but it's like they don't match up quite right. It's almost like there's like layers or something. That one can be used for wood tables, countertops, and the like, so it's less toxic. Ah, okay. That's cool. That makes sense, though. You'd want something that's a little bit more, not necessarily food safe, but is it a coating resin versus a casting resin, or is it like a coating and casting resin type thing then? If it's mainly used for that sort of stuff. So I know there's kind of like two main kinds. There's like coating and casting, I think. It's a mix of both. Oh, okay. Designed for artists. Yeah, I've seen some cool like cutting boards and stuff that people have made, but I don't trust this resin to be non-toxic enough for that. I don't think this resin's food safe, so I wouldn't make cutting boards out of it. I trust it enough to make jewelry, but I figure that, you know, most people aren't eating jewelry or, you know, wearing it forever. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but cutting boards is one of the items it says it can be used for. Oh, cool. Cool. Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't trust this resin for that, but to hear that might be cool to make. Might be cool to make cutting boards. But so I'll have to check that out if that one's like safe for using to make like cutting boards and stuff, because that might be fun. That would be fun to make like cutting boards or other things in that vein. I don't know what else. Knife handles maybe. See, I need to convince my brother to get back into making knives, because he was doing bladesmithing for a little while there, or at least figuring out how to do bladesmithing. And see, now if I could make him resin blanks for knife handles, and that would be pretty cool. That actually would be pretty cool. Now I'm just thinking about it and making, not necessarily with that resin or this one resin, I don't know what would be best for that, but making knife handles might be pretty cool. You got it for the price. For what it says safety-wise, making dice, who knows? I don't want a little one getting sick. Yeah. Don't want a little one getting sick if they stick something in their mouth, or even adults being dared to do stupid stuff. To be fair, I'm not super worried, because it's plastic, basically. Like, that's really what resin is we're just making plastic. We're mixing two things together, making plastic. But, so, like, I'm not too worried about it being, like, super toxic, but I figure, like, extended use of something, I don't necessarily trust it or whatever. It'd probably be fine, but this isn't built for internal use. It is plastic. You don't want to be eating plastic anyways. And I would hope that people would be, maybe I need to put a warning on it, because I was going to say, I'd hope that people would know that dice shouldn't be eaten by children. Oh, yeah. If it can withstand that abuse, then it can be good for dice. Yeah, fair. Alright, I think we're getting pretty close here. Let me scrape this off and then scrape the sides and make sure everything's mixed. I can tell that we got a little bit of either part A or part B scraped off of this that's not mixed in completely. So we're going to swirl that in, but let me get the sides scraped as well. And I'll make sure that there's not like a big clump of one part or the other just sitting there. And at the bottom. And let's see if there's any. I was worried there was streaks in there, but no, that's just a cat hair. Just a second. Where did that go? No, actually, that might be an eyelash. Might not even be a cat hair. That might be an eyelash. Alright. How is this looking? I tend to kind of overmix my stuff a little bit, because I'd rather add a little bit of extra air, because it'll disappear with the pressure pot, than I would not have it mixed completely and not cure right. But I think we're looking pretty good. So let's just scrape that off. There's still a little bit that was stuck on the thing, so let's stir that in. See, for anything you make that could end up in the mouth of a young'un, you include such a warning just to cover yourself. There are warning labels on things for reasons, like that lady that used Gorilla Glue on her hair due to the warning label not saying it can't be used on hair. Yeah. You'd hope that people would have some common sense, but yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry, just with things. It probably would be good for me to put, not for children under 3 years of age or whatever, do not eat, but yeah, you would hope that people have common sense enough. I mean, as many people as make jokes about eating dice, I would hope that they don't. Or if you do, please don't sue me for eating plastic. Alright. Let's see how this is looking. Alright, I think we're looking pretty good. I'm not seeing any streaks in here, so I think probably good to go. Let's check here. I'm just scraping it down one more time.
I think we're looking pretty good. All right, let's get this divvied up into our various little containers. So, let's see. Opinions on ice cream sandwiches. Ice cream sandwiches were my favorite ice cream treat as a child. I like ice cream sandwiches. We had some in the freezer recently, but I think we ate them all. Although, to be honest, I think my brother ate more of them, because if I can't see something, I forget it exists. Why is your enter bubble? But no, I like ice cream sandwiches. I also always liked, does anybody remember freeze-dried ice cream? Or like space ice cream or whatever? That I remember getting it at like science museum type things, like OMSI and stuff, but does anybody else remember that? I always loved that. I thought that was so much fun. It was like it tasted like ice cream, but it was crunchy. And I like crunchy things. I've always said that the best foods are the ones that are crunchy, and the worst foods are the ones that are crunchy when you don't expect it. Maybe. What is going on with your keyboard, Jen? Never had freeze-dried ice cream. If you like crunchy things, and you like ice cream sandwiches, it might be fun to try at some point. It might also be weird. I don't know if it's an acquired sort of food thing. Like, you know, strawberries and apples. Ooh, yes. Freeze-dried strawberries and apples. That sounds yummy. I just made way too much of this. Oh, well. I don't know why I put so much resin there. Let me make sure that I have enough resin for this first. This is going to be the most important. I want about 30 milliliters. So let me see here. 80. I'm going to go down to about 60. 10. I have friends that got a freeze dryer recently, so we need to. I need to bother them about trying to freeze dry things. I don't know what all they've tried so far. I'll have to text them and find out. But okay, that should be enough there. I'll add a little tiny bit here. Just enough to kind of mix in this glow-in-the-dark resin. Alright, so we're going to use another, I don't know, 10 or 7.5 or something, probably 7.5, maybe 5. I'd rather have a little extra than not enough. Over there. And then I think we just have the tray left, unless I have enough for the black. But let's see here. Let's add about 10 of the dark blue. And then we're going to do about 5 of the others, I think. It's actually going to take a bit of resin here. Alright, and let's see, before we do, let's start getting things mixed up. So we're going to put this in here, put this in here, put this in here, and probably like 2 drops of this in here, I'm thinking, because this has double the resin, so there we go. Let's try that. Realize I didn't grab stir sticks for all these. Alright, there you go. So let me think about this. I probably want to do, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to do the, this is probably going to be almost the last thing I do actually. I want to do the Petri first, because I want there to be enough time for things to actually fall through that resin. But I'm just kind of starting these up to make sure that they're exactly how I'm going to want them. Alright, so I think we want to do the Petri first. So this is going to be our red and our purple. There's some red there from the last time I did this. So, what we're going to do here, so here's the plan. I'm going to fill this up about halfway with our clear resin with a little bit of shimmer. Let me get all the shimmer mixed in first. It's kind of all at the bottom at the moment. And I definitely want it to be shimmery. Yeah, there's definitely shimmer there. We're good. Right, I'm going to put this about halfway into all of these. Because I found that if I do it all the way up and then try to swirl in a color, it kind of all ends up at that end. So if I do it halfway and I swirl the color in, it'll end up a little bit more central, which is what I want. So we're going to do that. Try not to get resin everywhere. Okay, now we're going to take our purple. And it's kind of like a nice bluish purple, I feel like. It's a nice color. I like this color. It's definitely purple though. And we're going to swirl some of this into all of these. Doesn't need to be too swirled. Because it will get swirled a little bit more when I add more resin as well. But I want there to be a bit of this purple in there. I want it to be noticeable. I don't want it to just be like not even visible at all. Okay. It's definitely visible so far. Definitely plenty of this purple. Alright, swirl it to there. And into here. Steal some of that from elsewhere. And if they're not all even, that's fine. They can have different amounts of the different colors in them. That'll probably add to it a little bit, actually. So let's got our purple. And we're going to go and add most of the rest of our clear. I'm not going to add all of it because I want enough room to be able to add the Petri stuff and not have it running everywhere. So I'm going to fill it up almost all the way to the top, but kind of indented, concave a little bit so that the stuff doesn't flow off, it'll flow in. And this will hopefully also kind of displace the purple a little bit and spread it around a little bit, which is what I want. That's another good reason for doing this early, so that the resin's still pretty runny, so that the purple has time to move around as well. We'll do that all the way down the line. And then we're going to add our Petri. So the Petri in this is going to be red and white, and we're going to add a little bit of our glow-in-the-dark pigment as well. Would I ever consider a dice trade with someone? Yeah, I'd be down for a dice trade. I've done a couple actually with friends. I don't think I would do one right this second, just because I'm busy. I'm busy at the moment with quite a few commissions, but I'd definitely be open to one in the future. That could be fun. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of our glow-in-the-dark. I probably should have added this a little bit earlier, but that's okay. We're going to add some glow-in-the-dark here at the very top, and that'll hopefully get pushed down a little bit. With our peat tree as well. And end up kind of ghostly and not all sunk to the bottom like it was before. That's the goal anyway. I don't want it all sunk to the bottom like it was before. I want it a little bit more ethereal, a little bit more swirled in there. Just little tendrils. Yeah, yeah, probably after the holidays. I have a thing I might do with actually too. But yeah, no, I'd be down. I'd be interested. But yeah, probably early next year, sometime after we get through all the holiday season. There's a lot of stuff to make at the moment. Oh, yeah, that's definitely trying to sink. So hopefully it doesn't just all sink to the bottom again, but it might. It might. That's okay, though. We'll make it work somehow if it does. We'll just pour it again. Alright, here's all of our clear. Try to figure out where to set that so it's out of the way. Alright, now we're going to add our red and our white. Really, we want the focus to be on the red. The white is just to push the red down, because that is actually the heavy part. Is the white. I'm kind of scraping some off the surface here so that it's not like super, like a whole bunch of resin, so it's a little bit easier. And honestly, that might help with getting some of the glow-in-the-dark part up at the top too. We'll see. Yeah, it's definitely sinking though. That could be an issue. Okay. So there's all of our red, and it's just going to sit there on top. Thinking of taking this month off to recoup from everything. Tomorrow's also your birthday. Oh, happy birthday. You don't want to do jack, but sit back and relax. Enjoy birthday dinner, ribs, and watch YouTube, and then Critical Role when they're. Do it. Do it. You know, if you have the time to relax, do it. Even if you don't have the time to relax, take the time to relax at some point. I'm saying that to myself, but I never feel like I have the time to, I don't know, I'm bad at making the time to actually, like, do things, I guess. Alright, I think that's probably good on the white. I'm hoping that this works out. I think that the glow-in-the-dark has sunk again. So I think that if I do it again, I'll probably do it where I do the Petrie, I wait a while, and then I add the glow-in-the-dark on top. But, yeah, well, that's fine. That's fine. It's a little late now. I wasn't sure how much it was going to sink. Because, like I said, I kind of did it in an order where it's hard to tell how much actually sank and how much just stayed at the bottom last time. So I guess we'll see this time how it looks. And I'm going to set these off to the side. I'm going to wait a minute to add more resin to the top of these and finish them off, just so there's a little bit of time for the Petrie to settle. I don't want to displace it too much. I'm going to set these off to the side. I have a little tray over here that I put everything into my pressure pot on. Yes, those were the correct words. I'll just set it over here for now. Out of the way as much as possible. While we move on to our next thing. Yeah, we'll come back to these in a little bit. Alright. Moving right along. Let's do our little skulls. And the reason I'm going to do these next, normally I'd probably try to do these a little bit later almost, just so that I can make sure that like the dirt stuff doesn't settle. It seems to be doing fine, but I'm doing them now because I want to use the clear resin for something. And so I want to make sure that I actually remember to use the clear resin for this. So I need to get this done. Oh, come on. It's so hard to pick them up. I'm trying to get these in here. Come on, let go. So I'm just taking all the little tiny skulls. I'm just going to dip them in some clear resin and put them into the very bottom here. And I'm trying to get it so that the skull, like the face, is pointing outwards. Just so that they're recognizable, but they might shift around a little bit. We'll see. I'm hoping they don't. They have a little bit of a kind of buffer on them anyways because of the UV resin I put on them, but this will help. Where do I put this? I'm trying to artfully place them in here so that they're spread out, but they look kind of random. Three of them are kind of all together, but that's fine. There's the one with the I have one of them's like a tiefling skull, so it has like it only has like one horn, and the other one's kind of broken off, which is partially just because it was so small. That's how it ended up. But I'm trying to get that one so you can see the horn. All right. So I've got all my little tiny rocks here. We're just going to pour those in, I think. I think that's going to be the easiest. I want them to kind of spread out. Yeah, they don't need to be perfectly even or anything. The skulls are in! This is not a drill. The skulls are in. Survey says. Okay, I'll get these last couple ones that ended up at the top in. There we go. There's all of our little stones in as well. And then I actually do want to pour the dirt now, because before all of that clear resin spreads out too much. So I wanted to protect the skulls more than anything else. I think we're going to use a pipette to try and get this where we want it and not get it everywhere else. This dirt seems to have ended up with a little bit of the multi-chrome shimmer in it, which is a little bit funky but works for this, I think. I want to add just enough that it covers everything. So we're going to add that. And let it sit for a second. I think it's probably pretty good, but like I said, I want enough of a base to set things on. So I'll add 2 more drops. Yep, and I think that should be good. I think that should be good. So that one's going to be all set to go. Let me fill in my other, you will never deny sparkly dirt. Yeah, I didn't think you'd be too upset by it. It will match the other shimmer that's in there, so I don't think it'll even be noticeable really, and if it is, it'll match. Come on. Trying to get the dirt in here. So this is going to be surrounded by moss, so if it has a little bit of shimmer, it's not going to be noticeable either. But I did want to finish it off. Alright, we got a little bit of dirt left. Don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, but that's fine. We'll set that off to the side for now. We'll make some sort of dirt dye. I don't know if I have enough for a blank D6. Because I have, but man, I really need to work on the Minecraft dice at some point. This is just the blue and the silver and the red for our little crystals. I think I'm going to end up doing the tray here last. I think that's my plan anyways. If I am going to do a little bit of a dirty pour, I don't know, I'm debating whether I want to do like a little bit of a dirty pour or kind of try your idea with adding some actual like resin and move it, but I don't know, that probably would work, but I feel like it's more of my brand to do a dirty pour. Not my brand necessarily, but you know, like that's how I would normally do things. So let's try that blue and see how that looks. I added way too much resin to this, but that's okay. That should be fine. We'll see how this glows. I'm kind of curious, actually. Should we see if this glows or not? Let me grab my UV light that fell down somewhere over here. Where did it fall down? Oh, I pulled it back in. That's right. Let's see if this glows. Glow it. Come on. Try not to stick this through the resin anywhere. Which is easier said than done, apparently. So let me try charging that, and we'll see if it glows at all. Not very well. Let me add something. It's not glowing very well. Let me add some of this white, I think, that I... Let me add more of the dark red. Let me add more of the dark red glow powder. There's plenty of it. It may or may not work, but we'll see. I'm going to add a bunch more. I want this thing to glow. Darn it. But if that doesn't work, then it's just going to be what it is. But let's add quite a bit more of the glow pigment and see what happens. Well, that's definitely more saturated with the glow pigment. I might need to add another drop of blue because that definitely kind of desaturated the blue a bit. Which hopefully that doesn't completely cancel out the glow in the darkness. Alright, that definitely looks blue. Definitely looks like it's saturated with glow in the dark pigment because it's kind of more opaque. Let's see. Let's try this one more time. See if it glows at all. And what color it glows. Because that's another thing, that sometimes when I mix things, suddenly things glow a different color. Oh, nope, it glows red. We're good. We're good. I don't know how well you can see that on screen, but it glows red. So this will hopefully be blue and then glow red. If it all works out. I'm hoping that the iridescent flakes are noticeable too. It's not too opaque for that. Yeah, this is going to take a second, so I'm doing these now because, quite honestly, it takes a bit for all of this to try and work its way into these molds. Just because they're so small, you get air in there. So, let's see if we can get this to flow into our molds. Yeah, I might cover up some of the iridescent flakes, we'll see. But to be fair, I do have other spheres already made for this, so that we're okay even if this doesn't work out quite right. I have other ways of doing things. You might still be able to make it glow with just the other ones that are already made. Alright, do that. And then we need our blue and our red and our silver. Trying to make it so that this actually flows in there. Glowy. And our red. And then we'll move on to our pond dye that has some moss in there to kind of look like some seagrasses. We're going to give that a second for hopefully some air to rise to the surface. I'm going to squish these a bit. Try and get some of those air bubbles out. Try and get some of the resin worked in. Kind of flow in there and take up the spaces. Take up the space of the that isn't flowing in there at all. Come on. Alright, here we go. Finally getting it to work. Now squish it, put that on top, and then it kind of sucks it in there a bit. Yeah, so, and to be fair, if those don't end up completely filled all the way, we'll just add a little bit more later. Alright, that's for D20 that I'm not quite done with. Let's do our pond one. So that's going to be this. We're going to make it kind of like a teal color. This will be real quick. We're just going to make it a solid color and then call it good. Pour it in and call it good. I want another drop. I want it just slightly darker than that. Yeah, this is going with kind of a nature-themed, sort of nature-themed set that I am doing as a commission. But all the dice are different, which is quite a bit more work. That's one of those ones where I'm like never quite sure if I should put it as standard or complex. Because I feel like that's one of my things almost with commissions, is doing sets where every die is different. Like I've done quite a few sets like that where it's, you know, it's based around a theme and then every die, you know, is kind of different within that theme. And they're fun to do, but they definitely take a lot more work just because it takes a lot more work to design things and also like set up and pour them because there's a lot more pieces to get ready for them. Do I like this color? I think that'll be good. I'm debating whether I should add a little bit of blue or not. This is the teal. Yeah, I don't know. Like, to be fair, more often than not, when it's like that, it ends up being a complex set because it's, you know, I'm making something different for each die. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just, you know, I've had people say, you know, it might be useful to have more price points and options and stuff, but it's just easier for me to kind of keep it to like 3 sort of different price options, I guess, just so that I have a better idea of I like having like kind of specific, not rules, but I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. I like having a set scale, I guess, just because it makes it easier for categories. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it makes it easier for just the listing purposes too. If you know, I can just say, hey, here's how to order it, and it's just one of 3 options. Makes it a lot easier for people. And I want things to be easy for people too. It's also then easier for me because I don't have to try and calculate every little thing. I can just be like, okay, this roughly fits into this category. You know, judging by what this person's asking for, it kind of roughly fits into this category. So, you know, I can quote it as just, you know, standard or simple or whatever. And also, I feel like it gives people a better indicator of how much it might cost them before they actually even reach out to me to find out, just so they can kind of get an idea. Because I know that there's things where, like, I'll be kind of curious about how much something would cost, and then they're like, reach out for a quote, and I'm like, but I just want to know, like, a rough estimate of how much it's going to cost. Is this going to cost me 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks? What's the rough estimate here? What sort of range are we talking? So I feel like it's kind of nice to have that a little bit for people. But part of it is just that, like, I don't necessarily know how I would divide things up if I had just a bunch of little things, I guess. It makes it easier for my brain to just have set categories. And I mean, I do have certain things that are, I have changed things too. One of the things that I think I changed the most recently, and this is why I probably could put sets where every die is different into the complex category. But the thing that I changed recently was dice that require more than 3 pours of resin fall under complex. And that was because I did use a spreadsheet that all the items. So you're charging for materials. I'm charging for time. I'm focused more on time than I am on materials. And part of that time is just the design time. So like, you know, the big D20 here, and time as well. Yeah. So like, yeah, my things are really divided by time more than materials, I think. Yeah. Because the ones that I charge the most for are the ones where, so my complex ones are the ones where I'm usually where I'm hand making something, or I'm placing things very meticulously. So, you know, like that where I, you know, 3D modeled a tower and made little tiny skulls by hand out of polymer clay. Those would fall under complex. Just helps give an idea, and you have it set. So, hey, resin costs this much for this amount. A set uses this amount. What's the cost of that? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know. It makes it easy for me, and I feel like it makes it easy for people who probably want to get things to just have 3 options. That's actually the reason that well, it's one of the reasons. I think you're undercharging. I also think that you're somehow insane, because I don't know how you make dice as fast as you apparently do. I don't know how you make dice so quickly. I don't know what with your sanding and so I hate to break this to you, but it takes me more than 10 minutes to sand a set of dice, and more than 5 minutes to ink a set of dice. I don't know how you do that. That's fair. That's fair. Just pull them out of the molds and kind of like smooth the edges a little bit, sort of thing. I've gotten a lot more finicky, I guess, with my. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's see here. I need to think about how I'm going to do this. Also, how to get that? Okay, because I want clear at one end, and I want the dark blue at the other. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to. I think I'm just going to kind of do them in order. I think that's going to be the easiest. Your masters were already at a smooth glass-like shine, and that transferred to the molds and outside. A little cleanup on edges for a few. Most pop out of the molds ready to go. Yeah, that's fair. I know what you're saying. I know what you're talking about. So we have this little bit of white, and I'm gonna, just a second, there is a cat hair in here. Get out of there. So we want our dark blue at this end. Yeah, having new molds with the clean, with all the, you know, the nice clean molds definitely does cut down on stuff. I'm definitely using molds that are probably a little bit older than they should be. The dice don't come out super shiny anymore. But since I'm going to put them into a tumbler to polish anyways, it doesn't matter as much, I guess. So I'm pushing it a little bit. Hopefully I have enough resin here. So there's our dark blue. Let's move on to our next one. And I think I'll add a little white to this one as well. So we're going to do kind of the same thing. I want to kind of get some sort of lines in here. And there's another cat hair here. It might be the same one now that I'm thinking about it. Okay. So we're going to add our next blue. And I'm not too worried if there's like, if it doesn't seem like there's quite enough blue. Because we're going to be adding another layer anyways. And so we can kind of move things towards one direction or another if we want to. But let's get all of this blue in here. You really have little use to sand and polish your dice unless you use an older mold set that was made with your first set of masters, and you learned we're not as perfect when it came to cleaning them up. Fair, fair. Yeah, to be fair, it's kind of funny, like, I had some dice that, like, didn't sell in my shop, and so I went and pulled them out. And I was looking at them, and it was some that it was like ones that were hard to take photos of, so they were very like shimmer dependent and light dependent, and they're like super pretty, but you kind of have to see the movement of them, which is like, okay, yeah, I see why these didn't sell. I'm gonna take them with me to a bazaar. But what was I saying? I was looking at them, and I'm like, man, my sanding standards have really gone up. Because I was like looking at them and I'm like, this isn't acceptable. These aren't nearly polished enough. And I went and just took them and like polished them more because I'm like, no, these aren't nearly polished enough. And it's just kind of funny because that was only like, I don't know, 3 months or something prior that I put them in the store, and already I was just like, my standards are higher than this. I can do better than this. And so it's just kind of funny to me, like, over time, how what I expect of myself has changed, too. And I didn't even realize it. Didn't even realize it until I actually, like, looked at something that I'd made a little bit ago and then compared it. Every once in a while, you can't see your face in them or have them grab fingerprints like crazy. They're not good. Yeah, exactly. The thing that always bothered me was, like, the micro scratches. Or the the dice would still be shiny, and then if you kind of like got them at a certain angle, you could kind of see like a line in it. Can't stand those. Can't stand those at all. So, don't have those anymore. Alright, I think, should I add white to this? I don't know if I need to or not. Might as well. I'm not going to add white to the clear. Oops, I don't know why I'm trying to stir that in. I don't need that stirred in. That's for this, not for that. So we're going to get the last little bit of this in. And then we're going to do all of our clear. And that's going to start at kind of the other end. I like this ombre though. I like these colors. I think these colors are really nice. I hope it kind of keeps things and it turns out. There's a fleck in there. But yeah, that it is like pulling dice out of like new molds versus old molds. It's like so nice pulling them out of new molds. It's just like, oh, they're so shiny. I really need to sort through. My my molds and pull out some of the old ones. I can tell that this D6 mold that I used over here is rather old, but I really should sort through them. I've started doing that. I've started doing that where I'll pull out as I pull dice out of the molds. I'll go, this one's not very shiny, and I'll just put it over in my my molds to be recycled pile. All right, and then we're gonna pour, I think, the rest of our clear in here. And I just kind of want to seal these in place. Pushing. Trying to get all the cat hair off this. Oh, this one's a wet flat. I'm going to use like the rest of the clear here for the most part. Flat. But I want enough for the yes, I'm going to give that a second. There's a little bit of clear left here, but I'm going to give that a second. I'm going to try and let things flow a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit thicker. But while we do that, I feel like it's okay. While we do that, let's get our I just make a note of molds that are wearing out and what works on the dice. Needs to be done. So if you do use them, you know the dice needs X amount of work, you know, just to allow the molds to last a bit longer, so it can be, yeah, that's part of the reason that I just keep using molds and then just sand them more. Because also, I think that's one of my least favorite parts of the dice making process is making molds. I don't know why necessarily. I think it's because it's like one of the few sort of things that I just can't get into the flow of. Like pouring dice and stuff, I can get into the groove. And for some reason, I just can't get into the groove with making molds. It's like I just have to keep thinking about what all the steps are as I'm doing them. I don't know. I'm just topping these off with a little bit of... I don't know why I'm pulling the lids out. I don't need the lids out. Hi, Gridstick. How you doing? How you doing? I'm topping off some of these dice molds while I let the resin kind of flow in our little ocean tray here that I'm doing the first layer on. Not a huge fan of doing molds either. I don't usually have a lot of molds that go wrong. Every once in a while I'll have one that ends up with like a weird face or something, but I don't usually have a lot of trouble with molds. But yeah, it is one of those things where it's just like, man, I don't know. There's not enough immediate gratification, I think, with molds. Moved into your new house you move into your new house in 3 weeks. It's really good, but worried because you have not packed it. Oh man. I'm sure it'll go fine, but yeah, probably good to start getting packed. It's always, I feel like, a lot of work moving, and then it's so nice. It's like nice having a new place. I guess I haven't moved a ton. I've moved a couple of times, but yeah, it always seems like it ends up being a lot of work, but rewarding. But that's exciting. Congrats on the new place. I hope it serves you well. get enough resin into all of these. That's probably pretty good. That's probably enough. It's domed a little bit. This is why I didn't want to add one more dollop in here. Not quite a glorp of resin, but a dollop. Just enough here to add a little bit more to that. So I have enough for this D4 as well. And I'm hoping that all of the glow-in-the-dark powder didn't completely sink to the bottom, but I have a sinking suspicion that it did. So we'll see. We'll see if it all sank. And that's probably enough resin there. I'll put a little tiny bit more on the D2 maybe. Completely get all of it out of here. Okay. So that should all be ready to go. Let's see, how's this look? Let me spritz this down. There's some bubbles here. I need a little bit more clear over here, it looks like. But I'm liking kind of where the level is over on the side. Because most of the things are kind of sticking out a little bit, which is what I want. Because I want them to be kind of partially buried in the sand that I'm going to be adding there. I don't want them floating above the sand that I'm going to be adding there. And actually I'm going to flip this over. I want these shells to look like they're resting in the sand. So let's see here. Trying to get some of the air bubbles worked out here. A few air bubbles that, you know, gotten trapped and stuff. And I think, you know what part of it is? I think part of this is that it's not, there we go. It wasn't even that way, so I think now it should flow to that side a little bit more, which will be good. Alright, I think that is kind of how I want it. Let me add just a little bit more clear here, just so we can make sure that it'll actually hit this spot. That's good. I'm just going to try and kind of connect things a little bit, just so that I can make sure there's no like weird gap spots. Use a little white along the edge of the blue and such to make it look like breaking waves along the shore. Oh, kind of like here. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Let me do that. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Why not? So let's just make. I'm just going to turn this into white resin. I'm just going to turn this into white. There's a cat hair in there. There's a cat hair in there. There's always a cat hair in there. It's always cat hair. So I'm going to add that. And you said maybe a little bit of white shimmer, right? I think that seems like a fun idea. So let's add a little bit of that. Let's add a little bit of this shimmer as well. Shimmer! I think it's definitely tilted a little bit, so it's definitely higher at this end, which is what I wanted. Okay, I think this is going to be easier to manipulate with a smaller thing. Buy loads of stuff so you can clone our cats. Yeah, add a drizzle following the flow of the blue. I'm not quite sure what you mean there. curve the blue's making. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. That's I think that's kind of the plan there a little bit. Add another little bit here. I'm kind of trying to follow the edge there, and then we'll add a little bit more here, a little bit. There we go. I think that'll be good. All of this white seems to have moved a bit. So that's the thing, but I'll add some of just white as well. Hopefully that white ink will kind of follow as well. There we go. I think that'll be good. I'm hoping that everything ends up at the levels that I need it at, but I think we're looking good. Let's just use up our last little bits of resin here, and we'll be all set to go, I think, for the night. So we've got our tray here. I've got a tray here. Okay, we've got some white resin. Let me make sure that these are filled in. I kind of don't think they are. At least some resin has fallen down into these though. Let's get our red. There we go. I'm kind of squishing the side so that there's all the air, there's no room for air in there. And I'm putting the red over the opening so that it sucks the resin back in. That's my scheme here at the moment. And we're gonna do the same with the blue and the gray. Although the blue actually looks like it's mostly full, it just needs a bit more resin. Actually, the gray looks pretty good too. Just make sure there's a bit of resin at the top. All right. And make sure that this part's all ready to go. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see the iridescent flakes, so we'll see if we end up using that. But that's okay. So we've got some white, and we've got some of these colors left, and I think that's pretty much it. Let me make a D6. I'll make a D6 here. I'll make that with these 3 colors, I think. And the white. If it was clear, I'd do that, but we're gonna try our glow in the dark blue, I think, and white. We'll see how much resin we actually have here. We might end up doing both. So I used to do, well, I still do, when people order just dice from me, I throw in an extra crystal D4. And part of that is because I used to do just the standard, like, pyramid D4. And so, it was fun and different. And it's just like a random one. I use them as dump molds. And now most of my dice actually have the crystal-shaped D4. But you still get like an extra one. I'm going to slowly start moving, I think, towards, instead of having a bonus D4, getting a bonus D6. Just because I think those are more useful. And also, like, might as well. They're more useful, and honestly, I think they're easier to make than the D4s. So I'm making D6s now with whatever leftover resin I have. Alright, so let's you need to remake your master to crystal D4. Yours is a bit big. It doesn't fit if you put it in a standard size dice box. Oh, the kind that has this. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like the standard dice boxes aren't made for the crystal-shaped ones. They're built for the pyramid ones, right? To be fair, I package all of mine in little glass bottles, so it doesn't really matter too much as long as they'll all fit in there. Alright, there's D6. Let's see if we have enough for that. And let me see if I can fill up this with my dirt. So I do actually have a use for dirt colored blank D6s, because I actually have some that I've already made for a project, so I might as well make some more if I can fill this up. You're thinking you're making mine but be no longer than the D20 is wide. Oh, I see. I guess it's going to come down to how it looks proportionally, though, too. You know, you don't want it to look too small compared to the rest of the dice, but you could maybe make it squat or something. That'd be kind of cool. I guess D20s are not small, though, so it doesn't really... You've got a bit to work with there. Oh, yeah, I forgot that this was shimmery. I think I must have put this into a mixing cup that had shimmer in it before. I think that must be what happened. And I can tell that it's the multi-chrome shimmer that's also in here. Alright. You just wonder how thin it will be, scaling it to such... Yeah, though with the app you used, you can see how long it is. I wonder if you could, like, make it almost squatter, so make it, like, the same, like, circumference, the same diameter or whatever around, but just bring, like, the crystal point in a bit. That might help keep it from looking too small. Because I feel like if you go too narrow, it'll make it look small. Well, I don't have quite enough, I don't think, so I'll put in a little bit of silver on the very top here to help fill it in. I'll fill it in with the silver. I'm not too worried about this one, to be honest, if it doesn't turn out perfectly. Alright. Hard to tell without something in hand. Yeah, for sure. We still got a little white and blue and red, so we're going to do another D6. Yeah. We'll see if we have enough to fill this in, and then we'll be all set to go. I'll get all the lids on, and we'll put them into the pressure pot. Because things are starting to get a little bit thicker here. Which means that, you know, we're a little bit further into our work time. How long have we been? Okay, we've been streaming for about 2 hours, and I think I poured resin at about, like, what, the 45-minute mark or the hour mark or something. So we've been messing around with this for a while now. It is something that I don't know what the work time is like on other resins, but I do appreciate that the work time on this resin is pretty forgiving. That's why I used the silicone that I used as well, is because it has a longer work time on it, and I'm just slow at things. I like having extra time to actually get things made. especially when I'm streaming, I feel like. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if I take more time to get things done if I'm streaming or if I'm not streaming. Because I feel like streaming takes a certain amount of concentration, so, you know, 40 minutes of standard work time for Resin. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I think I've been messing around with this for longer than 40 minutes. Maybe. I'm trying to remember if I started mixing at like an hour in, and we're at about 2 minutes and 20, or 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it's definitely been more than 40 minutes on this, which I think the work time on this is supposed to be 40 minutes. So, you know, it's like, yeah, I started mixing about an hour ago, exactly. And I can tell that things are starting to get a little bit thicker, a little bit harder to flow. So let's get all of our lids on, and we'll call this good. That one, we're not gonna put the lid on. Robbie, what are you doing up this late? Welcome, hello. I'm just finishing up, amusingly. We're just gonna start putting the lids on things, and go get these into the pressure pot. But I'm glad you could join me, even if it is from outside the window, just staring in, like a cardboard cutout that you plant at your friend's house to creep them out. How are you doing, though? How are you doing? Good to see ya. Alright, just putting some lids on. Okay. Trying to get these set so that I can get to the other ones. You're watching streams and saying hello. Ah, you moving on to the next one? Just stopping by. What sort of stuff have you been watching? Game stuff mostly, or? I'm still debating whether I want to stream Dice on Saturday or Minecraft. I don't know what I plan to do for either one. To be honest. I'm just still debating. I'm sure I could find something to do either way. I'm sure we could do arts and crafts and find some arts and crafts to do. We could always do some sort of arts and crafts that's not resin as well. That is always an option. But also Minecraft. I do plan to start streaming Minecraft at some point. It might be in a couple months. And it might be with friends. I might not be by myself for streaming Minecraft eventually. You're watching your friend play God of War. Ah, fun. That's what I like about streaming. It's just like, to be fair, I've always liked watching other people play video games. Like, I've never been a big video game player myself, but I've always enjoyed watching other people play video games, even before, like, YouTube. Even before YouTube, I liked watching other people play video games, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, because I remember as a kid, every once in a while, like, we'd have sort of, it's not really a family game night, but sort of a family game night where my dad would play a single-player game, or, yeah, single-person game on, like, the PlayStation 2, and my brother and I would just kind of hang out, and my mom was in charge of the physical book that was the game walkthrough, so that if he got stuck, you know, she would go consult the book that she had. Anyone else remember the walkthrough books? Maybe, yeah. I'm sure that the youths today do not remember the walkthrough books. But I don't know, it's funny kind of looking back and being like, oh, I remember that. That was a thing for sure. You know, it's the same sort of realization of like, oh yeah, I'm older than Google. I forgot about that. yeah, I never think about that. I'm older. You remember them fondly. Heck, you remember them when the only source for a game's story was in the menu. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. This is just the manual for it. Yeah. I grew up with my parents playing MMOs though, so like the internet was definitely a thing for me growing up. Because, like I said, you have a few guides, yeah. The internet was definitely a thing for me growing up, but it wasn't like, I don't know, I feel like it wasn't as big as it is now, almost. It's really weird to me to think about all of the things that I am older than. Like YouTube and Google and that sort of thing. I was talking to, who was I talking to recently? Because I, for some reason, I just remembered Albino Black Sheep, which was a Flash-based site that had like some video stuff on it. And I was like, what was that? I was trying to remember. And because we were talking about like old videos and stuff, and I'm like, I think it was on that site. It was before YouTube. Oh, come on. So I was just like, huh. It's so weird looking back on it. Alright, I am going to go put things into the pressure pot. So I'm probably going to sign off for the night here. But thank you guys for hanging out. It's good chatting with y'all. I will be back on Saturday. I don't know, like I said, if I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to do Minecraft or arts and crafts. Haven't decided yet. You're a Newgrounds user? Yeah, exactly, yeah. I don't think I ever really used Newgrounds, but it's one of those things. But yes, have a good night, everybody, or morning or whatever. And hopefully I can see you guys on Saturday. I'll probably post in the Discord what I plan on doing sometime sooner. But yeah, that'll be at noon on Saturday. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.